The AV Geeks lunchtime streaming show where we watch old 16mm films, and occasionally I'm in the archive introducing these films to you. But what has been happening this week is we have been moving films out of the archive to various storage units offsite so that we can start doing some renovation work and ultimately build a safer space for the films that are it's climate controlled, and we can control the moisture and just better all around. But what that means is everything has to go off-site. So that's moving 20,000 films off-site. So anyways, I'm going to give you a quick update of end of day Wednesday to see what it looks like. And I neglected to say, we start off with an image of a mural that's painted in the same room as the Jimi Hendrix mural that you saw the day before, supposedly painted by the same woman. And then we're going to been thinking a lot about budgeting time, budgeting money, budgeting resources, shelf space. So we have a series of films about budgeting and consumer power. So the first film is Your Family Budget, then Consumer Skills, Saving and Investing. Then finally, we're going to end with a wonderful film which has songs in it called Build Your Economic Power. So watch and enjoy. If you like what you saw or are watching, what happened? Did it crash? Oh no, we're still there. If you like what you saw, you can hit the ko-fi.com/avgeeks. That's a way you can donate some cash. Patreon.com/avgeeks. Hit the thumbs up, the like button, or use the super thanks button. We will spend that money on seltzer and watermelon because it is a lot of work. So we will see you soon. Everybody take care. Bye. All right, so we're in the large room, or what we call the Jimi Hendrix room, and all the larges are cleared out. It's pretty epic. That was a lot of heavy lifting. Then we go into what we call the small plus room, and there were 4 shelves here filled with small pluses, and they are all off-site. So that's what we did today. My wife suggested, hey, why don't we do a time lapse of this? And I'm like, I'd love to, but I'm too busy. So I'm too busy moving films. So we have some films there that we're going through. There's a bunch of vinegar films that we need to figure out what we're going to do with. But all right, that's what we did end of day Wednesday. So tomorrow is another day. Here we go.
Everywhere we go in this land of ours, we see people, old people, young people, people of all descriptions. There are many different kinds of people. Each person has different interests, different desires, yet there is one thing nearly all have in common, something which all share. What could it be? What could J.D. Perry, president of the First National Bank, wealthy and influential citizen of his community, share with Joe Clark, day laborer? Or what could Joe Clark have in common with Betty Wilson, pretty young stenographer? In what respect are these three alike? Just this: they all want things that money can buy. Take Betty, for example. She wants lots of things that money buys. But Betty is like most people. there's one thing that she wants more than anything else. Betty wants a new fur coat. She knows that the coat she wants is very expensive, but she can't help dreaming about it. J.D. wants something too, for not even he has money enough to buy everything he wants. J.D. has in mind a small airplane, one he could pilot himself, which he could use for both business and pleasure. Joe Clark has a different desire. What he wants is to be able to send his son to college. Of course, Joe wants a lot of other things too, but educating his son is his great ambition. Most people want some things more than they want others. Is there anything that will help them to get the things they want most? The answer is a budget. But how can a budget do this? Is it magic? First, just what is a budget? A budget is a plan for spending designed to give the maximum satisfaction for a given income. J.D. Perry is budgeting so that he can buy that airplane. He has several incomes and many expenditures, so his budget is written on paper, but that is not necessary for everyone. Right here is Betty Wilson's budget, all in her head. Her income is the same every month, and her expenditures are simple, so she doesn't keep a formal written budget. Hers is an informal mental budget. Her only writing may be keeping her checkbook stubs. That doesn't mean her budget is not a good one. It is every bit as good for her as J.D. Perry's written, complicated form is for him. But how can a budget accomplish this maximum satisfaction? Let's see what happened to Mr. Perry when a car salesman took him in to see the latest model. J.D.'s car is 2 years old, and it's nothing like this gleaming beauty. J.D. was tempted. But wise man that he is, Mr. Perry told the salesman that he'd have to think it over. When he got home that night, he consulted his plan for spending. He found that if he bought the car, he'd have to postpone buying the airplane. The airplane was what J.D. had decided he really wanted, so he decided not to buy the car. His budget made him realize that he couldn't have both right away. His budget helped him steer a straighter course toward his goal. Recently, Betty Wilson and a friend found themselves going to the drugstore almost every evening for sodas. Betty loves chocolate sodas. But one evening she counted the cost for a whole year. She was amazed. She found that even though one soda costs very little, her sodas for a whole year cost more than she had thought possible. Now Betty must decide whether to go on drinking sodas or have her coat a little sooner. The budget will not decide this for her, but will show her that she must make the choice. The budget helps people to buy what they really want instead of spending money on lesser desires. Joe has a different problem. Remember, Joe doesn't make much money, and what he does make has to go a long way. He's saving for that boy's college education. Should he buy the new roller skates the boy wants so much? Joe decides that if he and Mrs. Clark stay home from 2 movies their budget has already provided for, they can buy the skates. Joe and his wife know that buying the skates will not reduce their savings. That's another good thing about a budget. People know where their money is going. they need not feel guilty about buying worthwhile articles. There's another way in which a budget helps, too. Betty Wilson knows that there is a way for her to buy her fur coat tomorrow if she wants to. She could buy it on the installment plan, but Betty knows that this means paying interest and carrying charges. She knows that a $200 coat could easily cost much more when bought on the installment plan. So Betty decides to save ahead for her coat. Her spending plan, her budget, has encouraged her to avoid the extra costs of buying on time. So each month she adds to her fur coat fund. A good budget helps people in several ways. But what is a good budget? A good budget is a family affair. Joe Clark found that his wife had a lot of valuable ideas and was fully as interested in the family finances as he was. Your budget must be simple as you can possibly make it. If it isn't, you're likely to give up and discard the family budget entirely. Your budget must be elastic. It must be able to accommodate the changing conditions of your life. For example, one night a young man called on Mr. Perry, asked him to invest some money in a new business. After looking at the figures, J.D. decided the opportunity was too good to pass up, so he accepted the young man's proposition. His budget needed a little revision, but it was elastic enough to accommodate a change in plan. A good budget must be realistic. It must leave a margin of safety for possible illness or other emergency. It must leave a margin for impulse buying, of which almost everyone is guilty at times. No matter how good your budget is, it can't help you if you don't stick to it. When the Clarks first started budgeting, Joe came home one night with a new shotgun. It cost a lot of money, money which was not included in the budget. At the end of the month, Joe got a letter from the landlord. He had to sell the shotgun in order to pay the rent. If Joe had consulted his budget, he would have discovered that he could not afford the gun at that time. Joe learned that his budget could help him only if he let it help him, only if he was willing to stick to it. No, a budget is not magic. It cannot give you everything you want, but it can, if properly used, help you to reject the things that will not give you the greatest satisfaction. It can help you to recognize your everyday extravagances. It can help you to know where you stand, what you can afford, and what you can't. It encourages you to save ahead instead of mortgaging your future income. Whether you want an airplane, as J.D. Perry did, a new fur coat, as Betty Wilson wanted, or a college education, as Joe Clark wanted for his son, you're more likely to get what you want if you plan your spending, if you use a budget.
just what I want. The money's at home. Could you put it away until tomorrow? I'll be back to get it. The name's Connor. Ray Connor.
Oh, it's divine. Will you hold it for me? I'll have the money tomorrow. Oh, Polly Connor. C-O-N-N-O-R.
Well, those will fix the old buggy up. I'll have to get the down payment from home. Set aside 4 of them for me, will you? Tom Connor.
So each of you had your eyes on that $20. Well, it's too late now. I've spent it. All right, Tom, start to carve. That's part of our $20 right there. Our new carving set.
We'll have this out after supper. We need those new tires.
That gorgeous handbag. And I need one. We'll see after supper.
Boy, oh boy. Can't get anything you want around here. We'll take this up in our family meeting.
Well, what a happy family. But it's time we got something I wanted.
Yes, in the Connors family, as in many families, discord and unhappiness are the results of improper management of money. Let's see if the family council, after supper, will get anywhere with this problem.
Well, are we ready?
Gosh, Mom, I
Look
really
here,
need
the
a
tires
new
on our old
car.
bus.
Please, one at a time. But you know, I have given this a lot of thought. Isn't it about time we worked out a better way of planning what we do with our money?
We plan all right. We've got a budget.
A budget? Do we have one?
Sure, we know how much we spend for the house, for food.
And the rest of the money just goes, doesn't it?
It's always a race to see who can spend it first.
And that's the money we should plan for together. To find out what we really need and who needs what the most. And save up money for big items.
Like the television set we all want. Why don't we discuss our budget right now?
Let's.
Fine. Here. This is the budget Mother and I have been using. We started out with our annual income of $3,000. That doesn't include my usual $100 bonus. That's income we can't count on. Then we divide our money into these major items. First, the essentials. Food takes 30% or $900. Housing, the payments on our house and upkeep require 20%. Clothing, for all of us, 15%. Operating expenses, another 15%. Family advancement, and that's many things, gets 13%. Then we try to save 7%, if it works. Well, that's the budget we've had. I guess we need your help with it.
It checks pretty well with the percentages my business tax gives for our family and income. I guess it's all right. But, Dad, where does my new driver come from?
Why, recreation money. That's family advancement.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. $3.90 a year. That's over $30 a month, isn't it? Well, then, I can get my driver right away.
Hold on. We've got to pay for medical bills and school books and church offerings and movies out of family advancement, too.
That's why we need better planning. How many times do we want to go to the movies this month?
When do we get the radio fixed?
Should we try to have our entertainment at home? How much for church offerings?
What about new screens for the porch?
And what about my handbag?
It seems we need more detailed planning for our budget. It may help us to buy things when we need them.
Well, if the family can agree to plan, perhaps the budget details can be worked out over a period of several family conferences. The new budget grew out of cooperation, trying to see the other fellow's point of view. And it was more detailed, not just clothing, but specific amounts for each member of the family. That way they could see how their expenses compared with their plan. Not just general operating, but specific costs based on the average figures for the last year. And family advancement funds
are planned and scheduled as well as possible.
You know, I think I'll be able to get that driver in a couple of months. Or should I get a job after school so I can buy it sooner and practice indoors?
And I can have the new handbag for the January party.
And I can pick up a couple of used tires and run the car till spring. Then we can get a new set, huh? Well, let's get this into operation, shall we? Who'll do what? I guess I'm in charge of income, and I'll look after our checking account and large payments, like the house payments.
It's probably up to me to do most of the purchasing. But Ray and Polly can help, can't you? You usually buy some things, your own clothes.
Yes, and maybe we can help you keep the expense records.
Sure. We'll practice up on our personal expense budgets, and then we can help out with the family records. We'll need some place to keep bills and records and things. How about the desk?
Good. That's our bookkeeping department from now on.
So, the Connor family budget was set in operation. Bills were kept in one place and paid regularly each month. Check stubs, together with receipts for cash expenses, provided the means of keeping thorough records. And these records formed a basis for frequent family conferences to check progress. Were they keeping close to the plan? Or did they need to change the plan? And their budget plan reminded them to say no to less important things, to save for things they really needed.
You don't know how much I like it. See?
Oh, it is lovely, dear.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you've got it, too.
You know, I wish you'd get your golf club now.
Say, we've got money in our savings now. Plenty. I could get that driver, couldn't I?
Savings money for golf clubs? Ray found out why not a few weeks later, when an unexpected expense came up. When the car was fixed, wow, what will that do to the budget? And so the family council met again.
We'll still be short $56 on this repair bill. We'll have to take the money from some other item.
But we can easily pay it back, can't we? The next few weeks of operating expense will make up the difference.
No, it won't. There's an insurance payment coming up.
And we have to order some coal. It's running low.
So we'll have to cut into other funds.
Well, we have savings. Oh, I don't mean to touch our savings bonds. But we've built up a little emergency fund in our bank account. Of course, we'll have to be sure to save up the money as soon as we can. But there's a way to pay that repair bill, isn't it?
And that's what the Connors decided to do. Well, some months later, the Connors have paid the repair bill and have saved the emergency money once more. The planning of their family spending is shown in Polly's scrapbook.
Our family budget has given us some of the things we want. Golf club, handbag, new tires,
And Mother's favorite rose bush.
and some big things, too. Some savings. And leaves us a bonus check. Pretty soon now, we can buy a new television set.
Of course, it does seem to me we should get a refrigerator.
No, it's a television set for us, isn't it, Dad?
Well, I think you'll all agree that we ought to have a... do you like this kind of garden furniture?
But our
We
refrigerator...
can save entertainment money with a television set.
Look, I only make...
Well, perhaps the budget won't help the family to buy everything they want with their extra money. But the budget is a reminder of their first agreement to plan their spending, of the specific allotments and scheduling of their spending, of the responsibilities for managing the budget and keeping records, and a reminder of the flexibility and the handling of emergencies. So, the family can continue to benefit from their budget and enjoy the use of their money.
My folks are old-fashioned about everything. Hair, music, you name it. Like when I got my first job. The first thing my dad said was, "Good, now you can save some money." Save? I never had any money before. I was into spending. I bought some new clothes and some records. I took my girl out. You know, by the time payday came around again, I was flat broke. And the thing was, I really didn't have much to show for my money. I mean, sure, I had some new clothes. I had some records, but I was still playing them on this old phonograph. I took my girl out a few times, but we were still taking the bus. So I figured, I'm working now, right? I'll get a loan from a bank and buy a car. But it isn't that easy to get a loan at my age. I remember I asked my dad to sign for the loan with me. But of course he doesn't believe in borrowing money. Save it, he told me. And I tried, I really did. But there was always something coming up, like this great movie. So I took the money and went. But we still had to take the bus. It was just too much. I wanted a car more than anything else. So I gave up and went to Dad. Like I said, he's old-fashioned. But he's been around, and he really knows about saving money. The first thing, he showed me how to make up a budget. I had to figure out how much I could spend for clothes, records, dates, bus fare, everything, and still have something left over to save. So every week after that, I put away $10 with Dad. I just pretended I never even had it. Pay yourself first, he says. He's always saying something like that. But I got to admit, it worked. I saved $10 a week and spent the rest. And it started to build. $10 a week. More than $40 a month. That's $520 a year. By the time summer came, I had enough to get a car. My own car. All with my own money. And I even saved about $30 by not buying it on credit. Of course it's a used car, but it gets me where I want to go. You know what I mean?
It was really hard when I first came up here to the city. I didn't know anyone except my uncle and his family. The first job I had didn't work out. So I had to borrow some money from my uncle, and he couldn't really afford it with all his kids and everything. And then, even when I was working steady, I had to pay him back, and I had to get groceries and things for my apartment. At first, it was just 4 walls and a bare floor. I didn't even have a table, and I was scared, being on my own for the first time. What if I got sick or broke my leg or something and I couldn't work? I knew I should have some money saved up, just in case, you know. Then I'd see a big sale where they had really nice clothes, like at half price or something. But I figured out that I couldn't have everything all at once, and some things were more important. I had to plan ahead. So I only bought the necessary furniture, like a bed at first. The dresser, couch, and chairs just had to wait until I saved up the money. I mean, that stuff cost so much. And I didn't want to borrow the money from one of those places where you end up paying more in interest than the price of the furniture. So I figured, why pay them interest for my money? I still have to pay for the things I want, so why don't I get the interest for myself? And now I still don't have much furniture, but I have a savings account, and that helps my credit rating. And I have a feeling of security, just in case something happens.
You know, most people just put their money into a bank and never think about any place else. I got to know these two guys at work. Max was always pushing the credit union. Our labor union runs a credit union for all the members. Max is the vice president. Max took me in and introduced me to Jay Noracross. He's the guy you talk to if you want to join. Jay explained that if you do join the credit union, you get a vote in how it works. For one thing, your money's safe in the credit union. All the deposits are insured by the federal government. The credit union pays interest, too. Max explained that credit unions are the cheapest place around to get a loan. That's what they're for, to loan money to the members. It makes sense. But Greg was always telling me about savings and loan companies. His big point was that savings and loan companies pay more interest than credit unions or banks. I checked that out. There's a federal regulation on that. Banks just aren't allowed to pay as much interest as savings and loans. Savings and loans have 2 kinds of accounts: passbook savings and time savings. With a passbook account, you can put your money in or take it out anytime you want. That's convenient, but passbook savings don't pay as much interest as time savings. You buy a savings certificate in a certain amount, and you agree to leave the money in for a certain length of time, like 6 months or a year or 3 years. The longer you leave it in, the higher the rate of interest you can get, up to the legal maximum. But if you have to take the money out before the time is up, you usually lose some of that interest. The savings and loan counselor also explained about checking accounts. You can't get one from a savings and loan company or from a credit union. I need a checking account so I can pay my bills without having to get money orders all the time. So I went to a bank. The only problem with that was checking accounts don't pay any interest. And there's usually a charge for a checking account. either a monthly service charge, or a certain amount per check, or a minimum balance you have to leave in the account. So I thought about it, and I learned. One thing I learned to look for was government deposit insurance. Most financial places, banks, savings and loan companies, credit unions, most of them are insured. So if the place gets robbed or something, you can get your money back from the government. But some places don't have that insurance. You have to watch out for that. Another thing you'll hear about is the way a bank or savings and loan association figures the interest. There are just about as many ways to compound interest as there are places to put your money. I learned that the interest rate is more important than the compounding. After all my looking around, I finally decided on a bank, so I could get both a checking and a savings account. You see, that way I can do the whole thing by mail. The bank takes money out of my checking account and puts it in my savings account. This forces me to save every month. So it just depends on what you need. For a loan, you can't beat a credit union. For interest on savings, you can't beat a savings and loan company. Just shop around and get what you want.
We're doing pretty well now, with both of us working. We have a little saved up, the car's paid for, and insurance. No kids. Things are looking good now, so we've been looking around for investments. Ways to help us build up our future. Ways to use our money. Carol wants to buy a house. I guess a house can be a pretty good investment. If you're careful, you get a good buy. We drove around and did some house hunting. The problem is, all the houses we liked cost so much. And a house is a lot of trouble to keep up, you know. No painting and fixing and all that. I'm not too excited about that. I'd rather keep up the apartment and put our money into something else. We thought about U.S. savings bonds. I guess that's the safest investment you can make, but that just doesn't pay enough interest for me. I'd rather put some money in the stock market. You can make some real money there. So I started watching some stocks, and this guy at work gave me a good tip, a sure thing, he said. What I did was just pretend to buy the stock, just to see what would happen. I wasn't too sure about getting into the market. The sure thing lost me $1,000 in about 2 weeks. I'm sure glad I was only pretending. You can lose it just as fast as you can make it in the market. Since then, I've talked to people who really know about stocks, and I've read everything I could get my hands on. I don't want to jump into the stock market without really knowing what's going on. We've talked about other things too, like investing in real estate, or antiques, or gold and silver. But the ad is one thing, and the fact of the matter is something else. The whole world's real happy to help you spend your money. And it's Carol's money too, of course. And we figured out one thing for sure. Only a fool would invest money in something without really, and I mean really, understanding it first.
I got to admit, it's better to budget and save than to owe a lot of money to a bank.
Now that I have a savings account, I really feel more secure. It's good.
The bank takes care of my saving automatically, every month. I'm glad I looked around.
I'd like to be the kind of investor who knows exactly what the risks are, who looks before he leaps. I don't want to lose what we've got, so it seems it's the smart thing to do.
want to buy products that you'll enjoy having and using? Do you want to buy services that'll bring more pleasure into your life? Do you want to be successful? Then, friends, you want to build your economic power. Your economic power, what does it mean to you?
It means that you'll make money and you'll manage money too. Mr. Governor, do you have any word on the budget?
Yes, our family always used to wonder, where's our money going? A few weeks ago, we sat down and worked out a budget on paper.
Our economic power, what does it mean to us? It means that we can find out how to save without much loss.
John, why have you transferred our savings from one account to another?
Gladys, I finally discovered the truth. Some accounts earn more interest. Get economic power to build your spending fund. Now come along with us and we will show you how it's done.
How is it done, Bill? How can I earn the most money possible?
Yeah, Bill. What's the best way to budget?
And after I have a budget, how do I save and invest? Consumer skills mean buying. Can I learn more about good buying habits?
And what about credit? I hear a lot of good and bad things about it. But how does credit work? And how does it work for us? Yeah, tell us, Bill. How can we build economic power for ourselves?
Well, I don't know. But I think we can find some answers in places like these.
I know the very essence of a modern-day economy. I know the economics, both of business and agronomy. I know about production, and I'll give an introduction so that you can understand it better than you know astronomy. We'll start in with production. The producers are the companies. The products that they make are for consumers. They're the families. Consumers know that work is good, and all throughout the neighborhood, they work for the producers. When they do it, they are employees. Consumers have their income earned from salary, rent, and interest, and most of that's for spending, though a part of it they save, invest. The income and the spending is a circle, never ending, with producer and consumer interacting, with good humor, round and round it's systematical, a process democratical, and that's the very essence of our modern-day economy.
That's how our economic system operates.
Work's got me confused. I don't want just any career. I want my work to be right for me, and I want to earn the most I can. But how do I make it happen?
There are different opinions about that. Maybe you can find your own answer. Here.
Books. Who needs them? I'm gonna quit school and get me a job. Interest surveys. Why take them? I already know what I want. Want ads. Why read them? I can get a job on my own. Part-time work. It don't pay nothing. Who wants it? Hey, look at you, Jolene. You got a good job, a great car, swell clothes, and a nice place to live. Some people got all the luck.
Well, I work pretty hard.
Yeah, you got all the breaks. People like me, we keep waiting around and nothing ever happens. Luck. That's what it is. Some people got it, and some don't.
I think I understand. A person has to prepare for a career. That means learning.
And learning means study equals a career equals money, and money means all the things we can buy. I think I want a Cadillac. I think I want to have a sack. I think I want a fancy ring.
I know that I want everything.
A house that's done in gold
and lace.
A meal at some great eating place.
A superpower stereo.
To where I want to go.
Powerful big motor.
No end to all the things I like. Hand up my car, you're gonna swatch it. You'll get no car without a budget. What exactly is a budget?
I know how much I have and what I want to buy. Why do I need a budget?
I bet we can find the answer in here. Wow, look at all the things there are to buy.
But everything has its price.
Yeah, and I have a limited amount of money. Real limited. I guess that's what they mean by scarcity. Because of scarcity, we have to make choices.
We have to decide what we need and want.
We've got to have a standard for buying.
What could that be? Look into the future.
What?
Look into the future. Every month, every week. Then do your shopping. Get the things you seek. What is a budget? It's a buying plan based on buying habits that are right for you, man. Come on, isn't a budget just a lot of paperwork?
Doesn't it kill the pleasure of buying?
When you budget, you don't buy everything under the sun. You cut extra expenses so you have more to spend on fun. So come on, let's take a trip in my budget time machine. Now, tell me your wants and needs. I need to pay for school lunches and clothes out of my own money, but I want to travel with my friends next summer. How can I work it? Hey, there I am, making my own lunch at home. And I'm not buying that expensive sweater. I'm getting a lower-priced one. I bet I'll save maybe $5 a week. There I am, taking the trip. It's going to cost me some clothes and some fancy lunches, but if I budget right, I'll make it.
Oh, that's great, but I don't think it can work out that well for me.
I have most of my needs, but a lot of the extra things I want are so expensive I'll never be able to have them. It's upsetting. I'm worried. What do I have to know to get even a part of what I want? Opportunity cost? But that means I'll have to give up some things in order to get others. But I don't want to give up anything. If you want something bad enough, you'll give up other things to get it. The whole idea of budgeting is dealing with opportunity cost. That's why people who handle their budgets well say, make up a budget, a buying plan. Base it on buying habits that are right for you, man. Do your shopping, get the things you seek, and look to the future. Every day, every week.
It's okay, Linda. Everybody has to live with opportunity cost. And scarcity affects everybody, no matter how much or how little we may have.
I think I understand, but I don't want just things. I want to save money, too. Where can I find out about savings?
In the great city of Econopolis, it was a busy day. Banks were filled with customers. Then suddenly, one saver looked up and said,
Why should I save and invest?
Another added,
What does savings mean?
and a third questioned.
How should I save and invest?
In a matter of minutes, panic spread through the city. And then, faster than an automatic change maker, more powerful than our nation's economic system.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a $10 bill.
It's a U.S. bond.
It's Savings Man.
Savings, man. What is savings?
The answer's here in this special book.
Oh.
A superpower book? No, my passbook. You see, it contains the deposit record for my personal account. With savings, I can buy what I want, when I want it. And I'm prepared for emergencies, too. Savings mean extra income. See? They pay me interest. I found out what percent the interest would be before I opened the account.
How can I get the most out of my personal savings?
3 super-powered ways.
Kabam!
Set savings goals. Shop for an account. And save regularly. Now tell me, what are your goals? What do you want to save for?
There are things I want pretty soon. A new science kit and a little cassette recorder.
Those are your short-term savings goals.
And I want bigger things. A trip down south to Adventureland and a little motorbike all my own.
Those are your long-term savings goals. So you set your savings goals And then you, whammo, shop for an account. Did you know that there are differences in the interest that different kinds of saving institutions pay? And we also have to look out for economic change. Maybe like this man. When I was a boy, a dollar bill was worth a dollar. Value stood quite still, but now inflation is a word we hear, and I don't know what my dollar will be worth next year. What if my savings pay me 6%, but the prices that I'm paying go up 8%? Then while I save, I also lose. It's a tricky situation, and it could confuse. Even if inflation reduces your savings a little, it's always good to have money saved. And invested? Why do people invest, savings man? Because investments may make a great deal more than savings. People may profit more. Investments are risk savings. The stocks you buy are shares in a particular company. If that company's business improves, your shares can grow in value, but you're taking a risk. The value of your shares can go down. That's why I advise most people to save with a regular account and to follow my third and final rule. Save regularly! Thank you, savings man. Now we understand.
Bless you, savings man. Come on, Philip. Let's open an account right away.
Can good buying methods be learned? Can a person express individuality in his buying? The makers of Bibelfetzers present buying habits of our lives.
I did something last Saturday. I don't know why I did it, but here's how it happened. I was out with my friends at the shopping center, and Phyllis bought a new sweater. I don't know why, but I felt I had to have one just like it. So I bought one, exactly like my friend. I feel terribly wicked. I don't know why it happened, but that's what I did.
I understand. At least, I think I understand. Many young people buy as you do. You aren't alone that way. Others are buying with you.
Oh, doctor!
Good evening. This Saturday, like every Saturday for the past 10 years, the Al Fossier family is preparing to shop. And this year, ECON's Linda Sanford is on the scene to check their buying habits.
Linda here, and it's remarkable how fast a family can shop when their buying habits are set. Into the orange bug, the fourth car they've owned in 10 years. All the same model, all the same color. Up to the same shopping center where they always go. Into the supermarket where they always shop for the same product. Here's the clothing store where they always shop for the same styles and brands. Even their medical and dental service, a matter of habit. Buying habits. This is Linda Sanford with the Fossier family.
A family that may wind up in serious trouble because times are changing. Every family and its needs are changing. People must examine their buying habits to be sure they pay off in terms of good products and services at fair prices. And now for a brief message.
If you ever wonder what it would be like to have your fondest dream Bibelfetzers.
I've been looking at those for a long time. I'd really like one, but I don't have any money.
You could buy on credit. Lots of people do. And lots of kids qualify for student loans, even charge accounts.
Gosh, maybe I can get credit here, at a store where they sell them.
Do you want an open account or a revolving account?
Well, what do you think?
An open account has to be paid in full every month. A revolving account requires a small monthly part payment and a finance charge, the usual amount.
The usual?
1 or 1.5% a month, depending on what state you live in. Now, if you're 18, you can fill out an application now. Otherwise, bring it home to your parents for their approval.
An application? What do they want to know?
credit account? Did you buy what you wanted?
Not yet. I want to shop around for the best deal. Maybe that means a credit card.
Mr. Olson, you understand what a credit card is. You can use it in many stores and to buy many services. With our card, there's a yearly fee, and you pay the billed amount every month. Some other cards carry your balance from month to month and add a monthly interest charge. Would you like an application?
You know that interest you pay on a bank loan is usually lower than a store's finance charge. Here's the amount. Monthly, yearly. Truth in lending laws require lenders to write it that way. Also, we may want collateral for the loan. Either the item you purchase or something valuable you pledge to make sure we get paid back. And if a payment is late, we may add an extra charge, a penalty.
You want a loan? Sure. No applications, no references. Your people don't have to know nothing about this. Of course you pay a lot for an easy loan like this. A real lot. And if you can't pay on time, we'll work it out.
An open account, a revolving account?
There's a charge. The full amount.
A penalty.
Hey, Donald, is everything okay? We were talking about credit, and you went off into another world.
Yeah, I was thinking about charge accounts and loans. No reason to worry.
There's plenty of time to shop for credit. And now we know pretty much about economic power.
I guess so. But to make sure we understand...
Can you tell me some reasons for consumer skills?
Considering the amount we have to spend, consumer skills can help us to get more.
Yeah! Consumer skills can help us to have more. Yeah! Consumer skills can help us to be more.
Yeah! Right. Because there's economic power in your future. You're going to earn an income. You'll have savings with the highest interest available. You're going to change your buying habits to meet every change in the economy. And you'll use all your skill and knowledge to make credit work for you. Yes, you're going to build your economic power. Economic power, what can it mean to you?
It means that you can earn and you can manage money too.
Our economic power, what does it mean to us?
It means that we have told you how to save without much more.
Get economic power to build your spending fund.
The time is right, the future